Now to the latest in Vladimir Putin's war against Ukraine. New video smuggled from Ukraine shows the horror unfolding throughout the country with no end of war in sight. $40 billion is on its way from Congress. CBN's Brody has more.
Ukraine's president is calling Russia's war there hell on earth. This point-of-view footage taken from a medic's body cam was smuggled from Mariupol in a tampon. From the death of a little boy to footage showing the treatment of wounded soldiers from both sides, this medic's footage captures the horror unfolding in Ukraine. The medic behind the camera is now in Russian hands. Her footage comes as more than 1,700 soldiers, who were called the last defenders of the Azovstal Steel Plant in Mariupol, surrendered to the Russians. Moscow authorities say it appears to be the final stage in the nearly 3-month siege of the strategic port city. Video from the Russian Defense Ministry shows Ukrainian fighters, both male and female, handing themselves over. Many are seen here being taken by the busload to the Russian-controlled city of Olenivka. Russian television shows wounded Ukrainians receiving hospital treatment. These soldiers are now prisoners of war. Ukraine hopes to get them back in a prisoner swap, but Russia wants to investigate some of them for war crimes, calling them Nazis and criminals. Even though many surrendered, an unknown number of Ukrainian defenders still remain in the bunkers and tunnels under the Azovstal plant. President Zelensky says the Donbass region is completely destroyed as Russian forces intensify its bombardments. He says the Russians are killing as many Ukrainians as they can to carry out its genocide.
The yeas are 86, the nays are 11, and the bill is passed.
Back here at home, the Senate approved $40 billion in aid money for Ukraine. The measure passed as Russia's war enters its 4th month with no end in sight. Brody, CBN News.
And CBN senior international correspondent George Thomas is back after covering the war on Ukraine on the front lines for 3 months. Good to have you back in studio.
Thank you so much, Evan.
So good to be here. The weight of Russia's firepower is starting to make an impact in the east. How much ground are they actually gaining?
Look, I mean, if you look at this map of Ukraine, they have made some ground today in the east. We're talking mile by mile, village by village. They're trying to get all of Luhansk, all of Donetsk, which encompasses the region known as Donbass. So they are making gains. But look, this is a long slog. I've been saying this from the day the war started. The Ukrainians have taken the fight to the Russians, and principally with the help of the United States, getting all of that weapons coming in from the western part, $40 billion, as my colleague Brody mentioned, on its way to Ukraine. I mean, there are strategic weapons that the Ukrainians need so desperately. It's coming in. It has been. But right now, the Russians are on the offensive, and they are taking ground in the east. But again, like I said, this war is far from over, sadly.
Now, the Russians do now control the strategic port city of Mariupol.
Yeah.
What does this mean for their offensive in the Donbass region?
I mean, it is significant. I mean, if you look at that map just one more time, again, you look at it, Mariupol is a strategic part of the city. It's right there on the east part of the country. And what the Russians are going to do in the next few days is redeploy from those forces that were pretty much concentrated on Mariupol, because it was so strategic. And I think my sense is that they're going to move them further east, right, and continue to go into the Donetsk, Luhansk region, and perhaps even go further north and to try to encircle them, because it releases some of the pressure valve that they've been feeling for the last 85 days, these 3 months, trying to capture the strategic towns. So my sense is that they're going to redeploy those Russian troops, again, trying to put more pressure in the east for the Ukrainians. But again, the Ukrainians are strategic. I mean, they've been fighting this war, creatively. They've been being very strategic in how they operate. And so again, like I said, this is going to take some time, maybe months, maybe years, possibly.
Wow. Ukrainian Christians continue to make daring rescue operations to extract civilians trapped in the east. What's the latest on those efforts?
I mean, really heroic work. I mean, all along the eastern part of the country, these folks who are trapped, thousands of people people who, took shelter, so many of them in their destroyed homes, trying to live life as normal as possible. But these Christian groups are going in, getting them, some of them who want to stay, they're providing relief supplies. They're going through these various checkpoints, getting the relief supplies to these folks. But again, remember, when you have a home, where are you supposed to go? Where are you, obviously you can go and stay with friends and family, but for how long? This is their homeland, and the Ukrainians will continue to provide the necessary resources and the military capabilities to stay their ground. And then, supplemental to that will be these Christian groups that continue to come, bringing desperate humanitarian supplies to these frontline areas.
All right, so much needed. Thank you, George. Always appreciate it. Glad to have you back here, safe and